I'm back with Ender. We are here for our possibly final game. Depends on the outcome of this game between LDLC and Defusekids. LDLC, if they can win this, they will be a part of a three-way tiebreaker, but Defusekids could play spoilers against LDLC and make it so there's only two teams in that tiebreaker.
Yeah, and I believe the important clarification here is that assuming an LDLC loss, that would mean we only need to play one tiebreaker game, which will immediately follow this matchup we have right here on our hands. Whereas if LDLC do get the win, push themselves to 4-2 to be in that three-way tie, those tiebreakers would not be played today. Those would be pushed all the way till Sunday before we settle that.
Exactly. Thank you for clarifying that, Ender, because that is how it would be. We'd be pushing it all around, trying to schedule it, but you'll have to see if the Defusekids could play spoilers here. They definitely want to be able to pick up their victory. We've mentioned it before, we'll mention it again right here. Defusekids have been a part of 3 past European Masters and have always been able to pick up at least one victory in the main stage event. This time they're at 0-5. They're not doing so hot, but they could always be able to find that victory. They've been slowly eking their way back in each game where it's been closer and closer, even against Vodafone and Rogue.
Yeah, we just saw them play a very tight game up against Rogue until one final team fight, but it seems like their strategy in this match today is focus mid lane. First and foremost, take away some of those poke mages like LeBlanc and the Zoe, remove those from the board here. Now, I am actually, so as a jungler myself, I am most curious to see what TynX goes for outside of the jungle, because I'll say that in a second. We've seen a lot of Graves out of him. We've seen some more of these more interesting pictures I am a big fan of, but already showing the Lucian is a very different look. You know, we just heard during the interview in the break that a team with nothing to lose is absolutely terrifying, and I haven't seen a first rotation Lucian in a long time. This might be in the bot lane, you would assume, because you've already seen the Varus shown on the other side, but realistically, this could go top or mid lane too.
Exactly, and that is definitely what's scary. Fearless had said it in the interview where it's all about being able to now play your own style. You got nothing to lose. You can do what you want. Who cares about what the European Masters meta has been so far? Play your own style. It'll catch them off guard. You don't know exactly what now is capable or possible for DK, but LDLC have gotten the early jungle to be able to counter Hadess's Lucian.
Yeah, these teams have sort of taken the gentleman's agreement. They said, we're bored of the scaling, let's just brawl early and often here. That's what you're going to get with a Lucian versus a Rek'Sai with a Lucian in the map as well. We are looking for potentially some early game snowballing between these two teams. Now, with the Nautilus locked down in the bottom lane, I am still very much of the opinion that that is going to be the Lucian next to the Nautilus for some powerful 2v2 action around that bottom side of the map, but they would have to be careful because blue side Rek'Sai is always going to have a target on the bottom lane because of the terrain. That's always the lane that Rek'Sai wants to gank when she's on the blue side.
Which is why I like that DK are now focusing on banning supports. Take away things that could add a layer of safety for Hadess in that bot lane. Take away Tahm Kench, maybe even ban away Braum, just so that way they don't have those elements to be able to keep your AD carry alive, and you can have it where Goose and Nightmares play extremely aggressive into that lane.
Yeah, so right now I'm looking at like what can Defusekids put together to sort of finish out their composition, and I feel like this comp wants more dive. I'm thinking like mid-game spiking type champions, get into the back line. Like I'm wondering, like we've actually seen the echo into the Syndra matchup earlier today. Chapapi wasn't the one to play that, I don't believe.
I think it was
but that could
Vétheo? Yeah, Vétheo.
Yeah, I think it was actually the other side here with Vétheo playing that one. But like that style of a champion doesn't necessarily have to be the echo, but that's sort of the idea I have in my head of how these guys want to finish out their composition. I mean, they're hovering the Yasuo, and I don't like to talk about hovers, but that would certainly play into a very similar idea.
It would have worked in that idea of being able to play aggressively, especially in the lane phase, as well as being able to rotate around the map with Hadess, try to play that kind of style. This Orianna fits up, in my opinion, more with what they've already drafted, though. You have already the ball delivery system in Lucian and Nautilus. Now you have it where they can easily wombo combo you, burst you down, and try to play with this Lucian on the sideline, dishing out so much damage.
So I will say I like Orianna as a safer pick, you know, before seeing the entire enemy composition, and I especially like it when we are hiding Alois' champ to go for in this game. We're saving last pick for him, still obviously with the option to put Lucian top lane. We'll hold on to that because Alois has had a wonderful day. Excellent performances throughout. Almost had the 1v2 outplays on the gangplank, even in losses. I think he's been having a good day. Bando has not been having a good day, so he's going to be on tank duty. There's locking him in the Ornn. He's going to try to engage fights for him, and this is now a chance for Defusekids to put some, faith in Alois to try and carry out of that top matchup.
Hovering Mundo. They have played that already here in European Masters. I was wondering if that was going to be the option, instead going for Camille, another champion that we haven't seen very much, but has been played by Alois in the past.
Yeah, I really like this here. Already you're saying, okay, well, assuming that we don't get some sort of an early snowball, this Camille will be able to take over side lanes. But also, when we talk about dive, that was an option we were mentioning. Put the Orianna ball on her head. You have the tools to get into the backline and to find Varus and Syndra. This is a game where LDLC are going to be looking to buy space a little bit more in the team fights for those two players, whereas Defusekids maybe want to dive into the backline themselves, get this Camille enabled to pick off single targets.
The last time, so Alois did play it back on day 1 of the European Masters. I was just looking at it. Unfortunately, in that game, they did try to set up the split push style for Alois to be able to go onto the side lanes, constantly win, but never had an impact. It was against an Aatrox last time. It was against a Go Rogue. Here, into Bando on Ornn, I feel like has a lot more power if you can get to that point in the game where Defusekids can rely on Alois to take over that match.
Yeah, this is a matchup where I think early on in the lane phase, Ornn, when he's building his items, is going to be pretty comfortable with himself. But as you said, eventually, once Trinity Force comes through, Blade of the Rune King now, an item I've seen a lot of Camille's building in tank matchups, it will be very, very powerful. But I love what I'm seeing already. It's not that boring 5-point start for either of these two teams. LDLC are all camping inside of a brush, and Defusekids are trying to set up a pick of their own on the top side.
Unfortunately, they're on the wrong parts of the map. LDLC, I do like the read from them. They were expecting Defusekids, the team, with nothing to lose. They're all about going for whatever play is possible. They're like, well, we're expecting that. We're expecting you to go for this YOLO play, but it was on the bottom half that they thought that it was going to be, not on the top half of the map.
They had the right read, it was just the wrong side of the jungle, but still may see something happen because Hadess and Alois are both in this top side jungle. They're going to find each other out right here. TynX able to clear away that ward with Bando getting the last hit, and I still feel like they could stick around, but they would have to call Chapapi into the area, which they do not feel comfortable on doing. They don't want to risk it over the 3v3, but honestly, if I'm Defusekids, I would have gone for it. Rek'Sai level 1 is some hot garbage. Lucian definitely would be happy with that one, but instead we'll just back away, no problem.
Defusekids might have not felt too confident. They didn't know where Vétheo was, saying, okay, Syndra could be right around the corner. We don't know if it's going to be a possible 3v2. Let's back out. Unfortunately, I think you were right. If they had gone for the fight, it would have favored the side of Hadess. Lucian into Rek'Sai is a little bit more powerful. Just didn't happen.
Right.
So, again, the woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yes, of course. We've seen a lot of that so far in this tournament, but with the early game pathing and how I'm watching DK play this bottom lane, they're sort of allowing Hadess and YellOwStaR to get the push on in. Hadess, so bear with us on that one. We have Hadess and Hadess.
There's a reason we were doing this.
It's a battle for who's the king of the underworld. But Hadess is around this bottom side. TynX did not opt to go with there instead for a mid lane gank, so could see 2 ganks in quick succession in this one.
Chapapi gets knocked back by the Scatter of the Week. The flash will probably get the flash out of Chapapi. The flash comes in for Vétheo, but not going to be able to land that dodge.
Whoa!
So it is just going to be flashes left and right too, though, on the side of LDLC, and they didn't get anything.
Yeah, Vétheo looking really aggro right there without an ignite. Don't think he was going to be able to finish off that kill, so I would have much rather preferred him to hold on to that summoner spell. Now, of course, there would be a potential gank for Hadess to look for, but a good ward in the bot side river will mean Hadess can't find anything. We'll just start pathing towards his own top side, because now that Rek'Sai has hit level 3, Lucian needs to avoid the Rek'Sai, especially because pressure is coming through from LDLC's bot lane 2v2 and the mid lane. So him actually walking towards this river is a little bit confusing to me. I don't think that's the trade he wants.
Alois was getting a 1v1 in the top lane, but the bot lane There's going to be the play onto Nightmares, taken so low. Dredge Line trying to escape. Look how low he had to flash just to be able to escape. Looking for the snipe. Sniper no sniping. Not going to be able to get it.
Oh, Goose able to block that one out, unfortunately. Nightmares will be able to walk away, and actually Goose will... No, Goose has to recall. No way he can stick around underneath the tower with his jungler
Goose.
leaving and knowing TynX is in the area.
TynX.
TynX. No.
Oh, he was looking for the raid. I was hoping.
Okay, if he had tunneled over that wall, pressed Q, and gotten the kill, I would have called wall hacks. I actually would have called wall hacks on that one. And I know Rek'Sai is a champion with wall hacks, but like that would be to the extreme.
That would have been crazy, that's for sure. But didn't happen. TynX kind of scouted out, forced a very long path back for Nightmares, which could have given more pressure to Hadess and YellOwStaR in the bot lane. But they opt instead to take this time to be able to recall back out. They have the lane kind of frozen there. It is going to be slowly pushing towards Defusekids, but by the time Hadess and YellOwStaR return to this lane, they should actually be able to regain a little bit more control and keep both Goose and Nightmares trying to see if they could play back into this lane.
Yeah, I feel like the Lucian is still a very interesting pick for me because, of course, like, LDLC tried to deny him a lot with the pressure around bot side early on, but this champion now, actually, I'm going to have to hold my breath because we're already looking for another play towards that bottom side. We've seen Syndra in our last game making all of these roams down here. Now, once again, it will be TynX inside of the jungle of Hadess, but now Vétheo a little bit slower on the rotation. Nightmares is already here.
TynX already going to be pulled back in. There's a blast cone, but you're not going to be able to get there. It's first blood for Goose. Blast cone over the wall. Right on top of YellOwStaR. Vétheo, though, was what they actually wanted to go for. They saw that as the juicier target. Hadess going to be able to land the Sonic Wave, get a lot of damage onto Syndra. Try to see if they can take him any lower, but not going to be close enough for Nightmares to be able to land that Dredge Line, so they have to back out of there and then try to see if they can play around this river.
Yeah, they remembered Vétheo losing his flash very early on when TynX went for the gank, but Defusekids able to find a big win, but the hook might mean death here for Hadess. Ouch.
Yeah, thought he was safe clearing a ward, and there's no bot lane. You know that YellOwStaR and Hadess weren't there. You gotta back out of that one and expect that it's a Thresh. They're gonna easily look for a pick like that.
Yeah, that was a bit grim right there. It was both junglers, you know, saying, hey, what if instead of getting our lanes ahead, we got our lanes behind? And in the end, it's an even jungle matchup so far with both junglers inting a kill apiece.
Even getting exhaust out of Goose, there's a lot of damage that was laid back onto Nightmares, but unfortunately nothing going to be followed up besides getting an objective for TynX, so it is still LDLC. Getting things here and there, it just feels like they're trying so desperately to get this play onto Goose and Nightmares. They constantly get this Nautilus low, but they get nothing out of it.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say nothing necessarily because you do see the CS difference starting to extend, so it hasn't necessarily been like big kills coming through just yet, but even just the control through the river has gotten them the Infernal Drake already. They've gotten a turret play bot side too, and now it's Defusekids' turn to try and make a move of their own on the top
Bando
side.
has no mana, no escape. Look at this. Hadess going to be able to show up. Alois take him so low. Not getting the Sonic Wave doesn't matter. Flash from Alois picks up the kill.
Whew. The band Ornn falls right there with Alois picking up the kill, and this is exactly what I wanted to see when I saw the draft come through from Defusekids. I said, put some pressure up around that top lane, allow this Camille to take off. She'll be a threat in the team fights against the squishier members of LDLC, but more importantly in the side lanes too, in case the rest of the map starts looking poor. And right now the gold is very close overall, but when you see Goose falling down, you consider the scaling value of a Lucian next to a Varus, well, you say maybe we want to look elsewhere on the map. Maybe we want to start looking into those side lanes, try and knock down towers, create pressure points.
And that's what I was going to ask about, because we look pretty much towards the other lanes. Alois is the one with the lead, getting a kill, having pressure over Bando, but then you look mid lane. Chapapi's been struggling into the Syndra matchup, hasn't really been able to hold his own too well, and has constantly been having to go back, sitting on just as much farm as you could really get, but this is allowing Vétheo to constantly shove in the lane and have pressure on a possible roam and rotation.
Yeah, so the thing about the Syndra is it feels like no matter what matchup you sort of put her in, early game, because of the cooldown of her Q, because of, you know, the ease of her ability to clear away those waves and her relatively low mana cost, she can get priority a whole lot. So that means Chapapi is losing minions underneath the tower. That means Vétheo gets pressure for his jungler. So TynX is being able to get both objectives now, but Bando, once again, in trouble without flash this time.
I love this from Alois. This has been his day. They are looking for victory, and he's going to be able to get another kill over his opponent top laner. But mid lane, Chapapi flashed on by TynX, having to flash himself, but look at the damage with Unleashed Power, immediately followed up by TynX to pick up the kill in mid.
Ooh, really nicely played right there by the Rek'Sai Syndra duo. And now maybe they want to move towards top side as well. It's very hard to dive the tower, though, without flash, and more importantly, without ultimate on that Rek'Sai to be able to reset and drop that turret aggro. So he will be coming on up here, but I think the dive might be a little bit too much until Vétheo gets over here.
And that's what they're waiting on. They're waiting for Syndra to be able to rotate up. In fact, Nightmare's Goose reading this play, saying there is a possibility Syndra's going to be nearby. The moment that she's spotted on the tri-bush ward, they should be backing off. Exactly,
Bando.
There we go.
Bando! Don't go there, buddy!
Get out of there!
It's dangerous!
See, look, Alois doesn't even care!
Never mind. He's just going to farm the wave. He says Bando's worth less than 6 minions.
I need the minions! Give me the minions! It's like a
just building items under the tower, no big deal. I think they... Okay, maybe because Alois doesn't have much mana, but I still feel like
I think you go
it could
for
be
this.
diveable here.
You can
They're
easily
bringing down
juggle
Chapapi
aggro.
as well.
No, they don't. They decide not to. Hadess recalls. They could have easily juggled aggro. They have Hextech Ultimatum out of Alois. They probably could have happened, but I think you're right. They didn't feel confident enough without enough mana onto Alois. That one's the one with the most damage going into this. And look at this. Bramble Vest built by Bando just to be able to survive as well with the Unsealed Spellbook going for Barrier. Saying, no, leave me alone, please.
Please, just don't do it again. Now, he is sticking around in the spot lane. I think this is actually a really good call from him. Like, he's down a lot in top lane. No amount of CS he gets is going to swing that top lane matchup. So if he could try to get a kill, maybe look for a dive with the rest of his team around this bottom lane. It could be a big swing moment in the game, especially with Drake spawning very, very soon as well.
Hadess was there, too. Reading that the play and the dive could have happened. They're still going to go for it. That damage onto Goose. They obliterate him and immediately turn on a Hadess as well. Void Rush, zop, get the kill for Nyx. Then they do trade one on Bando, but it doesn't matter.
Of course Bando goes down in the fight. Unfortunate there for LDLC, but still a very big win for the team. And I think they should be able to move back and get that Drake, like I mentioned as well. Whoa.
Okay, YellOwStaR goes golden just to be able to survive, but
it was a good attempt.
It was a good attempt. Going back to the play.
Look, you got the stopwatch, right? Like, you're not going to really lose much after giving up that shockwave either. It's not like you were going to be able to contest too much inside of this river, but if you poke TynX down a little bit more, maybe you can.
That's the thing, going for a very volatile and aggressive early jungler. Chapapi's going to be able to easily chip away at Rek'Sai anytime she steps forward, saying, poke, poke, poke. So you have to play a little bit more carefully. TynX, one going for a dive onto someone like an Orianna, waiting for someone like YellOwStaR to be able to really tank that up. But we got to look at this play. It all starts off because Hadess has so much damage on a Goose.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks he's doing the right thing right here, but oh my god, the burst damage going down on towards Goose, and then TynX jumps in the back line as well to be able to finish off Hadess. Dodges away from the kick. Thank you so much, observers, for highlighting that one. That is hard to pick up, and I think that's also what trolled Bando. I see you guys memeing Bando. Sometimes you might deserve it, but right there, I'm pretty sure TynX dropped turret aggro with the Rek'Sai R, and that's why Bando picked up the R. I might be wrong, because I only just saw it right there, but I don't think it's Bando's fault.
I agree. I'm going to give Bando the credit here, just because I feel like Bando is getting memed on from some earlier bad plays, the TPs that we saw. You're playing Ornn now. You get these leeways. You're about the team now. You're a team player. if you die, whatever. You got your team these kills, and it was a good executed dive coming in from LDLC, where they now have a 2,000 gold lead. But they also have pressure on the bottom half of the map. They've already been able to take down both the top and bot turret. Only one standing is tier 1 in mid lane, which is forcing the Defusekids to have to play around that lane. Have to play right clumped up together, which makes it that much easier for LDLC to execute any more further dives.
And when LDLC want to make plays happen, all they have to do is move Bando out of whatever lane he's sticking around in and join up with the rest of the team. Because with Ornn, you know, Syndra, like Varus, you have so many engage options on literally every single member of LDLC. So all you need is a couple of those in one area, the vision control necessary, and you're going to get a lot of work done. But Hadess doesn't even care. Like, the poke from Varus is brutal right now because there's 0 armor being built by any of the members of DK.
The closest they'll probably get to that is going to be Nightmares, but that's going to be so long from now. Lethality.
Yeah, he's got a cloth armor. Let's go.
It doesn't work like that. I hate to break it to you. I play a lot of Lethality anything, like Lethality Caitlyn, Lethality Jinx. I just like to do that. The flash coming in from TynX gets the barrier. It's going to be Shockwave shutdown for Chapapi, you know, all those kind of things. I play them all.
That was a little bit ham, I have to say. Now Nightmares in the bot lane going in on towards Vétheo.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage. Going to be the gold go golden, but it's going to be the kill nonetheless. Gifted over to the Ignite from Nightmares. This is Defusekids, you know, they got the gift in mid lane, but they make the dive in bot lane, and it's a TP in from Bando that they could punish if they want to in a couple minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to dive on that play right there with Goose pretty low. No mana on the bottom lane either, but still good moves being made by Defusekids right there. They get that top lane tower as well, and Alois becomes increasingly more of a problem for LDLC. He now has the finished Ravenous Hydra. He's going to be working on that Trinity Force too, and once that comes in, like, he already wins his matchup, but he's going to be destroying towers and side lanes.
So close to stopping that recall from Hadess, but going back to your point, seeing a lot of these spikes coming in from Defusekids, not to mention they closed the gap of that gold lead that LDLC had for themselves. It was about 2,000 now, just a couple hundred. It's going to work well for Defusekids coming around how they want to play, because they want to be able to set up a 1-3-1. Even though Chapapi has cleanse right now, it's the Unsealed Spellbook from Orianna. Put Orianna in side lane, going to be able to clear out. This is why they have to focus on Chapapi, try to see if they can get anything. But you have the turret still back.
Sure.
Bando, that was too aggressive too early.
Why not? Let's just go for it. See what happens with that one right there. There was an attempt made at the very least, and I think the idea there is if they have a wave, I think they can use the pressure of that ultimate to knock down the tower. But the timing was obviously very off right there from Bando. Still, LDLC able to get stuff around the map. It's not that mid lane turret yet, but it will be TynX starting up this Rift Herald, and you can see when LDLC group up, DK can't actually walk in towards them. They are not strong enough in terms of itemization or in terms of like having anyone actually to face check until Nightmares finishes off the Gargoyle Stone Plate. He is really not that big of a beef ball.
No, but I do feel that Defusekids should have fought harder around Rift Herald. It allows LDLC to probably immediately pop that in the mid lane. Oh, no, they don't even have to, because they already have pressure from the mid lane. That makes it so that Defusekids have to play around what is going to happen around Alois. They will be able to get the kill in the bot lane yet again for this Camille with the turret in tow, but they still have to worry about the pressure that is now there for LDLC mid and top.
Here's the thing, Rift Herald's already going to be in the top lane. This will be an inhibitor tower falling almost certainly if LDLC commit some members around this top lane. They could just bring YellOwStaR up if they wanted to, and they're going to escort that one on in there. It's going to be taken down very low, and we now have an exposed inhibitor. It's early enough in the game that LDLC don't feel like they need to stick up here, take down the inhib itself. The gold is all they need in this exchange. It will mean they do give over the Mountain Drake towards the side of the Defusekids, and while that may be unfortunate for them, they're still making their way over here to see if they can try and contest.
This game's all over the place. Here comes the TP in from LDLC. They're trying to fight over this. They want to be able to steal it. They're not going to be able to. Good hook comes in. Hadess immediately bursted down. Void Rush to try to snap the claws down, but Shockwave going to be able to drag back in. TynX got a lot of damage before redemption because even behind suit. It's going to be the knock up in the back line, but look at Alois shut down from Vétheo as everyone else is trying to pile into the fight. They're getting shutdowns left and right. Goose had to flash away so low. Only one auto attack is what would have gotten the kill onto that Lucian. Nightmares had to flash away from the fight too. Everyone from Defusekids bailing out of that. They lost Alois, the one who's been carrying the team so far, getting another flash. So many summoners and a burst of damage with the first kill for Bando in this game. Vétheo is starting to come online with damage.
So Defusekids got themselves the Drake, but LDLC still able to find an even kill trade on the back of that one. Trinity Force was just completed by that Camille, which is big, and this is the biggest Monka W I've ever seen. 1 HP on the Drake. I believe it was actually TynX that missed the smite on that one. Hadess didn't even press the button, but still is able to get the dragon for him. Chapapi finished that off. Hadess unable to be sniped out by the redemption. But man, very close play on that Drake, and if LDLC get that, we are looking at a very, very early Mountain Soul. We're looking at a very, very early Elder Dragon, quite honestly, and very likely LDLC closing out the game in swift form.
This game's, though, still within a couple of hundred gold for each team. Defusekids having gotten themselves the dragon, messy fight afterwards. They do give over a lot of gold, and there was a lot of shutdown gold kind of swapped between the two sides. It still works, in my opinion, to the favor of DK. They're surviving. They're not necessarily thriving, but they're not losing out on the map unless, of course, Alois gets himself caught out. I don't know why you backed there. You could have easily gotten over the wall, but that might have actually been a bigger hindrance.
So there was a control ward right next to him that he could have been on. He was not. He has now found out. LDLC going to be sieging in towards this bottom tower. They're going to get a hook, but not be able to follow in on it and continue to dominate control around the jungle, around this bottom lane. It's possibly look for a dive. Bando's ultimate going to be up in just a second. Here we go.
Got the good knock up onto Nightmares, but pulled back in. Vétheo getting a lot of damage. Shockwave onto 3 members, but nobody's able to follow up the damage. The turret's going to fall. They get the knock up at the kill. Shut down onto Nightmares. So with the turret and with the gold, they back out. LDLC, they pretty much are just getting away with these slow picks and slow push back into DK.
I think everyone quickly inhaled right there when they saw Bando go in while the rest of his team was hitting the tower, but they were able to find off Nightmares right now. Bando understanding how much he could actually tank there before turning that one around, so they continue to pad the stats just a little bit inside of this game. Now starting to reach some breakpoints, right? Hadess has himself a Duskblade, the Black Cleaver for TynX. Rek'Sai really doesn't get more powerful as the game goes on. Once you hit that second item is sort of the peak for the Rek'Sai, so in these next fights he can continue to try and look and dive on towards a Goose or a Chapapi, and that's going to be the Rek'Sai's job when Flash is available. When Flash isn't available, you're going to be hitting frontline, but when it's up, it is really hard sometimes for, you know, the backline to play the game against Rek'Sai who's diving you, as well as that Ornn ult, which is pretty difficult to dodge away from.
Normally, I would say you're right. This is where we look at Rek'Sai and how eventually she will fall off, so DK, they can wait it out and try to scale, but everyone's so squishy on the side of DK. They almost follow a similar kind of path. Hadess on Lee Sin is going to be in a similar kind of build path to TynX.
Yeah, let's also be clear. I don't think Defusekids necessarily like hard outscale. I think the Camille outscales, and she's already at a point where she dominates in the side lane, but LDLC are going to be getting Ornn items. Bando's only level 12 for now, so we're still a little bit of ways off of those, but they will be coming through. Vétheo, when no one's building MR, he can one-shot you.
Okay,
well, that's actually, wow, Chapapi gets hit by it.
Damage immediately followed up, and TynX gets a killing spree. Kicked back by Hadess. They're trying to see if they can at least capitalize on the overextension from TynX, but man, there's a lot of damage on the poor Chapapi.
They're just flying at Chapapi from a mile away, but still, it was a 1-for-1 trade overall, and Alois is always going to be in a side lane. It was just Bando to try and collapse down here. Alois can just hit this tower. He doesn't even have to worry about the Ornn, but he backs away anyways, and Hadess is gonna die.
Bye-bye. I have nothing to add to that one. That you just outplayed.
So I feel like when you have a lifesteal item as the Camille, you can actually just hit the tower there, and you don't even have to worry about the Ornn. Ornn doesn't have ultimate, you're full HP, you're never going to be in lethal range right there, so running away gains you absolutely nothing while your team is buying time for you potentially in the mid lane while TynX is still dead, and now LDLC are going to pick themselves up a free Drake, so they'll be on Soul Point. They now are going to have so much pressure in the game the next time that one spawns, and that may very well force Alois into a fight. You know, we've seen teams like in the last game not really care about the Cloud Soul, and while I don't think Mountain Soul is necessarily the most, you know, game ending of those objectives, it still feels like DK would want to contest over that one right there. And it's a really nice play from LDLC to find this pick, but Hadess was able to trade on back for the 1-for-1.
And it's just a trade at the end of the day. A lot of damage comes in from Alois in bot lane, yada yada. But fast forwarding to now what that means here in this game, in this matchup, because the Defusekids do want to play spoiler. They want to make it so that there's only going to be one tiebreaker. LDLC have a lot riding on this game. They have to continue to play this one smoothly. If they can get a pick onto Alois and shut down any aspect of a split push, that will help them immensely, which is why they're playing so heavily around this Camille. Good flash to be able to deny that region and getting out of there from Alois, but look at the damage comes in, immediately bites down from TynX, but everyone else is collapsing. They could have overcommitted, similar to the dive that they had on Chapapi. They are going to be able to back out of there for now. Keep the depth charge flash in, body blocked by Bando. Redemption to heal up TynX. The kick comes in from Hadess to knock back in TynX. But nobody's able to follow.
Here comes LDLC.
Two members. They finally pick up the kill, but look at how long it took them. Like you said, Ender, they're all starting to collapse and try to see who they can pick off. Nightmares barely going to be able to escape with the damage from Hadess. Does enough to make this Nautilus scared for his life. Constantly using Dredge Line to be able to be that Spider-Man, but it's unfortunately not going to be enough to escape the claws of death itself. And LDLC finally, long fight yet again, will be able to march it up mid.
Look, I understand the desire to avenge a fallen comrade right there, but Defusekids, you gotta calm down a little bit. You have no pressure in the mid lane, so LDLC were able to find that big collapse and punish them big time right there. And as you were saying, right before all of that broke out, all Defusekids have to do is keep Alois alive in the side lane. But he extends without the pressure. He thinks he has it, right? You know, Lucian Nautilus very close by, but even though it is an Ornn and Rek'Sai still does so much damage, and then they survive for so long. It still didn't even seem like DK knew they wanted to fully commit to the fight. Hadess jumping a little bit back and forth right there, but by the time they finally do commit, well, there's the rest of LDLC on the way, and they're going to immediately be punished off the back of that play. There's no way you can take out the banned Ornn right here, and while Nightmares does live for a while, he does fall in the end.
It's a long fight, and I think that's just what you're saying. It was too much from DK. They should have looked for the pick. They got a couple things blown, and you know, you get the stopwatch blown out of TynX, then you back out. You go, okay, mission successful. We don't want to die here. Unfortunately, they overcommitted. They got a little bit too greedy. They're still not really playing around Alois on the side lanes, trying to make it so they can set up the split push effectively.
Well, it looks like it might be time here, Magical. LDLC have committed to the Baron, and Alois is taking the Krug camp. He's not down on those minions. He may have to teleport into this fight if DK even realizes what's happening.
You gotta know.
It's gone.
They're nowhere nearby. You say, wait, they're not bot lane, they're not mid lane. They gotta be on the Baron, right?
Oh,
well,
no.
That's exactly where they are. You're way too late to the party, and you don't even get the pressure in bot lane from Alois. It is LDLC finding these plays, these objectives every time, with DK having no answer.
Yeah, Alois just feeling a little bit too scared right there. I mean, he doesn't see anyone on the map, so his assumption is maybe they could be coming down towards me. DK don't realize what could be happening, but oh no, they get scouted out!
I respect the attempt, but that was a brilliant read out of LDLC.
Dude, LDLC with the scout right there. Finding out Defusekids trying to set up that pick, and now what do? Defusekids gotta walk back to their base, try to defend their towers. Don't forget that top lane inhibitor completely exposed for the time being. So right now LDLC are pushing in. They want to get this mid lane inner turret, but it's very easy for them after this wave dies to the mid lane tower to then play between mid lane and top lane to try and knock that one down as well.
Play around that, or even the Mountain Soul that's going to be spawning here soon. They have so many options to be able to force DK to have to answer them with no actual answer or read on the map coming in from Defusekids. They don't really know how they want to be able to play into LDLC, nor do they even have an option to do so.
Yeah, LDLC just walking it straight down this middle lane, and now Alois has left the wave clear. Not the best coming through from Defusekids against the Baron, but TynX is going to be working this bottom lane, so it doesn't seem like LDLC are going to fully commit towards this just yet, although they do continue to layer down the poke and soften up the Defusekids, so maybe the next wave. That's what they're going to keep telling themselves. Maybe next wave is when we can pull the trigger.
Almost bot lane. Maybe we can actually win the fight here, but unfortunately they don't. They allow LDLC to march these minions in, and they are going to give up this bottom lane inhibitor for free.
Yeah, and it may be the mid lane too, because that tower is incredibly low. Bot lane has already fallen. Alois does have wards he can teleport to, but I don't even think DK can win a fight for the time being. They can't push fast as LDLC don't care about mid lane. They're looking for the Nexus.
They're not even looking for a fight. They just want to be able to win the game. Finally the TP, but it's way too late from Alois, with LDLC taking one Nexus turret, looking to see if they can get the second one. It's going to be the shockwave onto two members, but they have redemption to be able to keep them alive and healthy. They're not even worried. They bounce around Chapapi and get the kill. Alois smacked himself. He tries to jump into the backline, but he can't do anything. Bando's taking up forever. The game is looking over. LDLC want to demand a tiebreaker. They are still in European Masters. They are not out, and we will have a three-way tie.
All right, I did not think that could happen. Coming into the day, it was Vodafone Giants on top with 3-0 in the standings, but Rogue picked up the win against them, LDLC picked up the win against them, and with this win over Defusekids to push their way into 4-2 in the standings, Group A is as tight as ever.
That is crazy. Definitely did not think that would happen. I thought there would be a tiebreaker. I thought there was going to be a tiebreaker. LDLC, go Rogue, that's kind of what I thought had been. I thought that maybe there would be a loss for Vodafone Giants, but I did not expect a three-way tie at the top.
Yeah, that was honestly incredible coming through from them, and I do have to say at the same time, Defusekids, while they did finish 0-6 in the group stage of European Masters, they had a lot of close games. You know, even in this one early on, were trying to fight away. They couldn't come away with a win in the end, but they definitely put a good fighting stance forward.
All right, with that victory, LDLC has forced a three-way tie in Group B. In this three-way tie, we will play a single elimination bracket that only has 2 games. Seeding is determined by fastest total victory time. The 2 teams with the slowest victory times will face off against each other in a best-of-1 match where the loser is eliminated and the winner advances to face off against the team that has the fastest total victory time. While both teams who played in the second match will advance into quarterfinals, the second game determines the seeding and that's step 4 quarterfinals. So with that in mind, Giants and LDLC will be fighting for their lives in the first match of this three-way tiebreaker. Side selection for this game belongs to LDLC, as they have the faster total victory than Giants. The winner of that match will then join Rogue in the quarterfinals, but they will have to face one more time to determine seeding.
All right. I'm excited for this one. This could get really fun between these teams, you know. I've always felt like in the past, you know, whenever you have these tiebreak situations, because our sample size of games is just so incredibly small, right? We only saw these teams play 6 total games in the group stage right here. This is one that actually gives us the opportunity to get a better picture of these teams going into playoffs, and unfortunately, we will have to send one of them home early.
So there you go. You can see the standings of Group B. Was quite the showing today, I gotta say, and I gotta ask your opinion, Ender. When you look at what's going to happen for the tiebreakers that will happen on Sunday, who do you think is good? What 2 teams do you pinpoint as being the ones to come out on top?
Oh, I think it's really close. I think right now, Rogue stand a very good chance. I would maybe have them as like the very slight favorites coming out of this, especially when you consider they very likely should have pulled that win against LDLC the first time those 2 teams faced off with a slightly different arcane shift in the bottom lane. Maybe that game would have gone their way, so I feel like they are the slight edge here, but honestly, the second seed is pretty much up in the air for me. I really don't know who's going to take it.
Well, Neither do I. We'll have to find out on Sunday, so let's talk about what's coming up tomorrow. That's going to be what's first. I think it's best to look at our schedule for Group A and see how that matchup might go for the next day, because it's going to be exciting to see the next tournament and what the next group is going to be able to do, since that there's the possibility that we have tiebreakers like this. You have BTXL sitting at the bottom, 0-3. They were a team that a lot of people had put a lot of praise onto and expected greater things.
Yeah, and if you've been following some of the rumors, maybe you'll be a little bit more excited about some of the players in this game than you would have been before for BTXL, but they definitely need to turn things around and turn them around quickly. Otherwise, they could be looking at a very similar fate to the Defusekids of today.
Well, I kind of want to talk about Gamer Legion and Gamers Origin at the top right now, because Gamers Origin have been looking very clean. Their macro is what a lot of people have talked about. A lot of the analysts have pinpointed their macro as being some of the best here in the main stage event for European Masters. So do you think that this is going to allow Gamers Origin to do what Vodafone Giants were not able to and continue to be undefeated?
Yeah, so I think it's really hard to call if they're going to be undefeated, but this team has a good shot of it. I think the biggest thing for them is the decisiveness. I've seen a lot of teams, especially in the mid-game, start to waffle here in the EU Masters, but Gamers Origin have been very on top of things. When they want to make a play, they know what they're going to do, and they're going to act on that quickly, and that is a very important skill to have as a team in competition where you might be very close in level with your opposition. If you're the ones pulling the trigger and making that united move, you're going to be feeling very good about yourself.
I agree, but we'll find out tomorrow. Thanks for joining us for Day 5 of European Masters Group Stage. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central European Summer Time for Gamer Legion versus BTXL. See you then.